Hey film dorks, what's going on? Welcome to the second of my end of the year videos for 2021. No year is perfect, and in 2021, as much as I really enjoyed some of the movies that I got to see, there were some that I just couldn't stand. We're talking some real pieces of dog shit.
Potato.
So here is my list of the 8 worst movies that I watched all year, plus 2 honorable mentions. Some are obvious choices, some will probably surprise you, and some will probably even upset you. But hey, that's film criticism. Anyway... A group of proper British ladies take severe umbrage at just how rude the fascists are. I mean, my god, they even interrupt high tea. But it's okay, because at the end of the movie, the British women chain themselves to a building none of them gave two shits about for the entire runtime, thereby preventing the Italian army from blowing it up. Yay! A laughably bad horror/science fiction movie from the 1950s in which a gang of completely uninteresting idiots is menaced by a bunch of dogs wearing Halloween costumes. And sometimes hand puppets. They're supposed to be oversized killer shrews. Hence the title. Moving on. The first, but definitely not the last, unpopular opinion you'll hear from me in this video. I know a lot of people consider this to be spot-on, brilliant satire of the media, of the sensationalism of modern news. Honestly, for me, it just wasn't funny. The characters are flat, the dialogue is stilted and unconvincing. The movie seems kind of obsessed with what it views as its own cleverness, and for me, that's just irritating. Especially when there's not that much real cleverness to back that up. Did it predict some things that have happened in the media since? Sure, I guess. But that doesn't make it a good movie. I warned you. This is another one that the humor fell flat for me. I think because so much of the film centers around how weird and creepy and gross the Romani characters are. I kind of feel like by 2009, Sam Raimi and the rest of us should have known better. Instead, the film is full of xenophobic tropes, poor acting, some of the worst CGI I've seen outside of the 1990s remake of The Haunting. I don't get the appeal. Someone please explain that to me. Probably the least funny comedy that Woody Allen has ever made. There are some really good actors in this movie. You'd never know that, of course, because the dialogue is so terrible that they're all having to put all of their energy into just making it sound like words a human would say. This movie is smug and self-satisfied and borderline incompetent all around. But it's not the last appearance Woody Allen will make on this list. Oh, look. I just lost like half of my subscribers. I wonder what that's about. Look, I saw this movie in theaters in 2018, and I was really underwhelmed by it. I said, you know what? It's been a few years. Maybe it's time to do a rewatch. Maybe I'll like it better now that I've watched more movies. If anything, I think it's worse. The CGI is so bad, it reminds me of these computer games I used to play in the computer lab at my elementary school in the 90s. Every single scare in this entire movie is just quiet, quiet, quiet. Every single one! And don't even get me started on that fucking nail. There is no earthly reason why a nail would be... Ah! I did mention earlier there would be another Woody Allen film on this list. There might have been some sort of an interesting movie here, if not for Allen's inability to trust anybody. He doesn't seem to trust his actors to perform their roles. He doesn't seem to trust his audience to just understand a pretty basic story. A lot of Woody Allen's movies have quite a bit of narration, but it's narration that enhances what's on the screen and explains backstory and supplements what we would get from just the visuals and the dialogue, the sound effects, etc. Here, it's wall-to-wall narration in substitute for substance. He explains to us what characters are thinking and feeling and doing and sometimes saying while they're giving their dialogue that says the same thing. And half the time, the important narrative beats are all in the narration, and what we're watching on screen has nothing to do with it, and it's just sort of pretty pictures. Maybe if he'd written it as a book, it would have worked, but as a screenplay and as a finished film, this is just incomprehensibly bad. This one is the most Godard of all of Godard's films. It's just style cranked up to 11, borderline incomprehensible drivel for dialogue, some of it incomprehensible because it just makes no sense and seems to serve no purpose, and some of it literally incomprehensible because it's drowned out by sound effects of explosions and gunfire, and is all of that supposed to serve some purpose? I don't know. I don't care. As far as I can tell, Made in USA is just 90 minutes of Godard jumping up and down going, "Look at me, I'm Godard. Look at me, I'm Godard. Hey, remember me? I'm that guy that made Breathless," which also sucked. "Look at me, I'm Godard." What are the worst movies you guys have seen in 2021? What are your thoughts on the films I've listed here? Tell me what you think, sling some abuse, whatever is going to make your day a little brighter after that nightmare. Just go ahead right down there. Guys, stay tuned for my last video of 2021, the weirdest movies I watched all year. In the meantime, thank you as always for watching. I hope you're staying safe, happy, and well, and I'll see you on the flip side. Son of a...